guys, this is Sam
and Justin
at Survival Review, and continuing our Halloween reviews for this year, we're going to be talking about a classic that is kind of shocking that we've never talked about.
Yeah, right?
But even more shocking, I had never seen it before.
That shocked me when I heard that.
This is one of those that just always slipped past me, and just I never got around to it. So I thought, hey, why not use this year's reviews as a good excuse to finally get to it? That's Brian De Palma's Carrie.
Yes.
Wow, just what a movie.
It's fantastic.
I mean, that's kind of one of those movies where, like, even if you haven't seen it, you've sort of seen it.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
Like, just via pop culture.
Exactly, because it's such an iconic film.
Yeah, and so much of it lies in that climactic scene.
Yeah.
That the rest of it is build up.
Build up to it.
Yeah. Even with that, even with those expectations and knowing what it is, had such a great time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Do we even have to explain the plot of this one?
I mean, just for the sake of doing it, I guess.
Sure.
But you know what Carrie is. It's Carrie. She's a young teenager in high school. She gets bullied in school a lot because she's a bit strange. Because of that, she just doesn't want to be a part of what other people are doing. And her mother is this overbearing, religious crazy nuts woman, played by Piper Laurie, who she's just wonderful. I mean, the only other thing I know her from is Twin Peaks, but she is just like unbelievably good.
Yeah,
I think both she and Sissy Spacek were nominated for Oscars.
Yeah,
which is hysterical. I love that.
It's great.
Unfortunately, for the sake of everybody, she does get asked to the prom.
Yes,
and you know what happens.
You know what happens. I don't also, she has telekinetic powers.
Oh yeah. That's also mentioning. This will just sound like a great high school drama.
I know it does.
Which, I mean, hey, more or less it is.
Yeah.
But it's also a Stephen King story.
Exactly.
Creepy Carrie!
Stephen King's first released novel.
Oh, really?
It wasn't the first one he wrote.
Okay.
But it was the first one he released. Which, before I get into the movie, just gotta say, that novel is great.
I've never read it.
It's really unique in that it's all written in, interviews and, newspaper clippings. Like, it's not just told like a linear story.
Oh, weird.
It's told with, interviews and stuff like that, and it's really unique and really cool.
Huh.
So it's a cool book. I recommend the book.
I will have to read it someday. So we already talked a little bit about the cast. I mean, you have Piper Laurie, who is fantastic as her mother. Is just a very, very Stephen King character.
Oh yeah,
Maybe one of the most Stephen King characters.
Yeah, overly religious, a parent. Parents aren't the best characters in Stephen King stories.
No, I wouldn't want to meet Stephen King's parents. I don't know what the hell they did to him. But,
no. So you got those classic Stephen King elements in there.
Yeah.
But like I said, Piper Laurie's great. Sissy Spacek.
Unbelievable. She's so good.
There's a reason why, every time they try to do a new version of this story, it's never gonna work as well because this movie did these elements so perfectly and the cast was so perfect. Sissy Spacek is incredible as the character, and she's so believable as a teenager. I was looking it up, and she was 27 when she made this movie.
Yeah, she did look a bit old, but you still believed that she was a high schooler. But she's both believable as a high schooler and just believable in this character. Like, she is so vulnerable and constantly terrified of both others and herself.
Yeah.
Because it's really also a movie about growing into a woman and that horror.
Yeah, and a lot of discovery.
Yeah, it's weird how it's seemingly a pretty simple story because you think about it just in that build up to that climax, but it's really a movie about a lot of different things.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of themes and extra details to things.
Yeah.
And the rest of the cast, there's a lot of notable people in the movie. PJ Souls is in it, which is great. Nancy Allen.
John Travolta
is in there.
I think his first role?
I don't know, it's one of his first.
It says introducing in the credits.
That's actually one of the things, I don't know if I'd call it a flaw of the film, but there's kind of a disconnect between the stuff with the teenagers and the stuff with Carrie and her mom. Carrie and her mom are going for Oscars in a sense.
Oh, Mom!
Oh, don't lie to me, Carrie. Don't you know by now I can see inside you? I can see the sin as surely as God can.
And the teenager stuff is a little goofy.
Yes.
Don't be in such a hurry. I'm hurrying away from you know that?
No, you're not.
Pain right in the ass.
It's entertaining, but like all the scenes with John Travolta and Nancy Allen are very kind of ridiculous and kind of goofy.
Yes. And all the scenes of like the girls having to go to detention and all that are just like just a bit strange and very male gazy. Because, I mean, the opening scene especially.
Yeah.
But that's Brian De Palma. You're not going to change that, man.
I think the thing is, I can't tell if it's intentionally played for laughs or if it's just kind of cheesily done.
Some of it is.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely some intentional humor there.
I think one of my favorite laughs is when Nancy Allen is starting to go down on John Travolta.
Oh, yeah.
Billy, I hate Carrie White.
Who?
And yeah, the rest of the cast do kind of feel like adults playing teenagers. One of the things I found really interesting is the gym teacher character, who ends up being this very sympathetic character towards Carrie and everything. And she's a really great character. Apparently that actress is only 2 years older than Sissy Spacek.
Oh my god.
But like, it's really well handled, and I believe that she is like an older character, and like...
Oh, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
She there's not a moment in the movie where you're thinking that there's only a 2-year age difference.
It's not like in Christine when the bully is talking to the teacher. The bully looks like he's older than the teacher.
Yeah.
But that also shows how good the acting is because I really like that character of the teacher who befriends Carrie and starts to kind of like taking care of her a bit. I really like that character, which, when we get to her demise later on, that scene is so like intense when that happens. It's almost heartbreaking when it happens. And that brings us to the direction of the film. It's Brian friggin' De Palma. Like,
and this was him really kind of coming into his own in his style. Like, I think Phantom of the Paradise was like 2 years before this, and that movie was also like him really beginning to do those hallmarks that from Brian De Palma, the split cameras, and the dual focus lenses, and just that frantic editing.
Yeah.
But this is really where he nails it in. As like, this is my stamp.
Frantic editing, but then also letting scenes play out and let the suspense build.
Yeah.
There's like almost Hitchcockian moments in there, especially when we get to the ending with the bucket of blood sitting up there and you're just waiting for it and it's constantly cutting back to it.
Absolutely. There's...
The one shot that's right out of a Hitchcock movie where the character of Sue, where she looks down and she sees the shadow of the hands holding the rope.
Yes.
Like, it's just right out of a Hitchcock movie. I loved it. And I loved that whole sequence. The whole prom scene, not even getting to the big moments, one is hard to watch going into it because it's such a nice scene.
I know.
Like, you see Carrie, she's all glamored up and like she's enjoying herself.
The happiest she's ever been, probably in her entire life.
Exactly. That scene is so hard to watch because you know exactly what's coming.
Yeah.
But then after that, you start getting the build up with the bucket sitting up there and it's constantly cutting back to it. And they're setting it up. They win prom king and queen, and you're just like, it's happening. You don't want it to happen, but
it's coming. But
I love when it's just like when I love when she's standing there and she sees in the rope starts getting pulled right next to her face. And she's like sees that and she's like slowly walking out like.
And she's really taking her time pulling that fucking rope.
Everyone's taking their time.
She's just going like this. I don't know why. Just for our sake, just so we can be on the edge of our seats a little more.
And when it happens, when she pulls the rope and the blood comes, that sequence is insane. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's one of the best things De Palma's done.
Yes.
And it's the reason people remember this movie so much.
And there's certain things where it's like, I feel like sometimes like a split screen can be kind of considered like a cheesy thing to do. But it works so well in this movie and just adds to the chaos. And I love like the lighting when everything just goes red, and that scene is fantastic. It's intense. It's scary because just that situation of being locked in that school while all this stuff is happening and everyone just frantically trying to get out of there.
Yeah.
And like I said, the moment where the PE teacher
because Carrie is just out for vengeance from everyone.
She's lost it because all she sees is everyone laughing at her. Like her mom warned her.
She feels that her mom was right and everyone is out to get her.
That sequence, like I can't speak enough about how great that is. And the imagery when everything gets set on fire at the end is so fucking good.
And Sissy Spacek, her expression
Yes.
that entire scene, such an intensity to it, and she's just like, she's perfect.
Yeah, that scene is perfect. Probably one of the best sequences put to film. I love it.
Yeah. And of course, the satisfying climax after the climax, where you have John Travolta and Nancy Allen chasing down Carrie in the car, and she explodes the car with her mind. Just
great.
beautiful.
That's great.
Yeah.
And then you get to the ending, which is the confrontation between Carrie and her mom. And that scene's good. Like I said, every scene with them two, the acting is like heightened.
Yeah.
And it's great. And you feel like the emotion and everything. I love when Piper Laurie's character, like, I love when she starts losing it, when like she's starting to realize that Carrie's going to the prom. No matter what she says, she starts acting out and it's like pulling on her hair and stuff like that. And you have that one shot where she's just in the kitchen and she's like cutting the carrot with the knife and she's
just slapping the knife onto the cutting board.
Like you see her slowly, like her descent, and she's just losing it more and more.
And she didn't have her sanity to begin with.
No.
So it's just like, you're diving right into just pure craziness.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah.
The final scene of the movie, which actually is very influential, is kind of a fake out dream sequence / jump scare. Which, and I know this because I just recently watched the Crystal Lake Memories documentary, and they literally said that they took the ending from the original Friday the 13th from Carrie.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because it's the same type of ending, and it's a great moment. It's a great kind of creepy little like coda to the film, where Sue's character, who we haven't really talked about her very much, she's one of the characters who in the opening scene was making fun of Carrie, and she slowly starts to regret it, which is why she asked her boyfriend to ask Carrie to prom, and that's how that all happens. So the ending is her going to the remains of Carrie's house to pay her respects, and of course Carrie's hand pops out. Yeah. Just a good little scare. And it's kind of cool how influential that scene was for horror movies to come, like all throughout the 80s. And going back to De Palma's camera work, there's this great scene where Carrie finally gets up the nerve to dance. Yeah. And it's this low-angle shot of her and Tommy, and they're dancing.
And they're spinning one direction, the camera's spinning around in the other, and it just keeps going and keeps going.
It keeps getting faster and faster.
And it's dizzying, but like...
It's also kind of nice, because again, it's another genuine moment with Carrie. So that's Carrie. I mean, of course you know. It's a great film.
Everybody knows it's good, even me not having seen it until now. I knew it was great.
But it truly is a fantastic movie, and one of the most iconic and great horror films ever made.
Yeah, and if you somehow, like... hadn't seen it before, go check it out.
Yes.
It's amazing. And that's about all we got to say about it.
Yeah.
So, until next time, see you guys later.